What's up everyone, welcome to another how-to episode. In this series we look at how to create a heist script for QBCore and ESX. Right, first and foremost I'd like to thank everyone for interacting with these videos, and I do hope you find them helpful, even if it's in the very slightest way. And yes, let's get right into it. I want to start by ensuring our script server side. Right, now we start our script. As you can see, we still have our debugging active for our little zone that we've created. As soon as we enter, we get like a little pop-up at the top of our screen that allows us to interact with our ped. When we press E to interact with them, we hide that interact option, and we can see in the console we have a control just released. Okay. Looking server side, we don't have any script errors specifically for our script. That's just a QB error, don't stress about it. Right, on exit we get another exited zone, and that should be that. As you can see at the bottom, our script is currently running at 0.03 milliseconds. That is most likely because we have threads running. Now looking at our threads, we do have a thread which is for loading our ped model. We could probably up it to about 10 milliseconds, and it should still suffice in keeping our ped in that position. That is perfectly fine. Yeah, honestly, what else is happening? Is there any loops running? Just the sphere. Okay. That's crazy actually. Right, we'll figure out a way to fix that later on. We have a server side error at line 45. Line 45, QBCore. Why? Why do you do that? Attempt to index a null value. My man. How? How are we indexing a null value? QBCore is null, but if our framework is set to QB, then QBCore is that. I know why it's doing that. Remember in our config we set up our framework to take auto? Well, here's the thing. I don't believe we set our framework yet. On resource start, if config.framework is auto, then we get the resource state of QBCore. If it is started, then our framework is set to QB. Okie dokie. And then we're supposed to print to what the framework is set. Now, the other error is coming from line 130, which is just get police on duty. But if you scroll up, it is that line that is causing the problems. So C is equal to config, so C.framework. If it is QB, then it should work, right? Well, obviously it has to trigger, but here's the problem. QBCore.functions get QB players. Now, I don't know why it isn't picking up the thing, right? That makes no sense. Okay, those are the ESX documentations. What I do want is this specific tutorial script. Right, we have our exports over here. I think what we should be doing is cutting that. We don't need it. Actually, we do need it. We can set that right there. That is fine. That is fine. However, in our resource start over here, we do that. QBCore exports is that. What I'm thinking of doing is going to our shared folder and over here. And what I want to do is the following. Okay, this is our data center. So maybe if I go to framework QB. QB. Right, let's do this. Let's do this. If W is equal to FW or open, we will do if get resource state, right, of QB dash core, right, I want not equal to started. Let me do double quotes, started. If it is not started, then we return end, right? Otherwise it doesn't matter. Then we will set framework dot QBCore is equal to this is whack. Maybe let's make this a shared script. So shared is in shared and config. Maybe we also do framework, because we will most likely use our framework stuff at some point, right? And this might be a good time to set it up. In framework, I want all of the scripts to be shared, but we'll have to restart the server, right? Let's quit out of that and exit out of that. Just get it restarted. Okay. Now, in a similar fashion, right, having this set, I have my other script here somewhere. Notify, no, I'm working on a bridge. Which is not working yet. Isn't it in my fuel trailer? No. In my notify? No. Commercial fishing? No. In my library? No. In my reload? Yes. Right, so got server and right, so get resource state. This is a much better piece of logic, right? And we will use that instead, because if, well, local found, which was just a boolean value. Right, we get the resource state of QBCore. If it is not started and it is not starting, then we just exit. Right, super simple. Server should be up. Okie dokie, let us just hop in and I'll have that load while we sort some things out. Okay, then let's look at other things, right? Iron.framework is QB. Let's just borrow from that. Yeah, this is difficult. FW.framework. Okay, so we'll set this as a shared variable. So then whenever we use it client side or server side, it should pick up, right? We have not used any core functions there. However, we have used it here. This does not matter anymore. That matters for sure. This does not matter because we do framework settings in our qb.lua now. And we will have a similar one for ESX, right? I believe this is ES_extended. And this little guy, we'll change that to ESX. Now I need to recall where I found the export for it. Common extended, or I can just borrow it from my previous script. I probably might. Yeah, I think let's do that. Events, functions, game. Nah, okay. To save us some time, in my weapon reload, ESX server, over here, we copy that, head over here, ESX is equal to exports, ES extended, get shared object, and that is what we'll do with that. So now we can do a bunch of things actually. Right, if we don't have to look at that anymore, now we can look at fw.framework. So if our framework is set to ESX, then we execute that. Otherwise, if it is set to QB, we execute that. And ESX and QBCore is now a shared variable. Fantastic. Right. So, while we load into that, let us look at some things. Remember I said we'll have an objective. So debugging the QBCore issue was a first priority for me. Now we have initialized our framework for ESX as well. We have initialized it, and so have we for QB. We'll use some of these functions like get player and get player from identifier, get all jobs, all these things. But most of the time we will just use it in here, right? This is just to set it up for us. And yeah, this actually does it automatically. And so we don't need this anymore. Right? But it is always good to just double check. So let's keep it. Why not? Just spawn last location. We just check on the time real quick. My apologies, I have a meeting in a bit. I just want to make sure I'm on time for that, can't miss it. That'd be bad. Ensure IN_DH. No, yeah, it is DH. Right. Let's see. We'll have to wait a minute to see if it throws us the same error, but I doubt it will. I doubt it will. Right. Let me just scroll down until I find INDH. There we go. So it is just the sphere that is causing the problem. Just released, so the key press gets picked up. And let's see. Right, heist triggered by null. So we pressed E and the heist was triggered. Right. Just got a massive fright from my headset. Okay. Right, heist timer is heist.countdown. Now we wait some time. Let me get the police on duty. If our heist is triggered, then heist timer is equal to heist timer minus 1. Right? So this is our little heist timer. And it'll print the current police on duty, which is 1. Why? If we do /job, my character is currently set to have the police job. So it is picking up that we are on duty, number 1, which is important, and that we are actually in possession of the police job. So our heist timer will complete, and then if heist timer is equal to 0, then end dc.heist triggered is equal to false, and we will probably trigger a client event, trigger client event, right, event name, player ID. So we'll have our event name and the player ID. That would be whom? Our data centers dot heist owner, and after we've triggered the event, we'll do dc.heist owner is equal to null. Right. in_dh. This is going to be a client-side event. Client. And we'll call it heist termination. Because we're technically terminating the heist if they have not completed it yet. Right, so add an event handler for that particular thing, function, and we will also register our net event. I misspelled it. Register net event, and that should be it. Right, registering a net event, heist termination, add an event handler. So what happens when the heist is terminated? We will notify our player the heist has been terminated. You took too long. and it'll be an error message. Right, that is all it'll do for now. It might do some other things, but that should be fine for now. We have our ESX stuff, that is perfectly fine. We have our QBCore stuff, that is perfectly fine. So let's look at this. Start our countdown timer, that is perfectly fine. And some of this logic might not be something we keep in the future. Everything is subject to change, for sure. But for now, we just stick to that. We have about 10 minutes left for this episode. So what I'm thinking is, right now, once we talk to our PED, we want to make sure that we can add an item to our inventory. And because we want to lock the front door, right, because this is our little front door, we probably want to lock it so we can use the key to get in here, right? So we'll trigger a little mini game to open this door, or just use the item because it'll probably be the key. And once it's unlocked, we can get in here. We will set up some things on these specific phone models, and we'll have another mini game to enter this little side office, and we'll have a thing to crack the safe, maybe hack the computer if you will, and to possibly search through some of these boxes. Right. Maybe just have one interaction point here, another one on the computer, and another one on the safe. And that should be that. So what we'll need is to do a few things. We will want the server to check whether or not we can add an item. How are we going to do that? Extremely simple. When we talk to the PED, right, before we trigger the heist, we will need to give the item. So we need to do a few things. If can give, right, let's check. We'll have a local can give, right, is equal to lib dot callback dot await. This is going to be a oxlib callback function, and it'll hold this event until it received an answer from this callback. Right, so in calling it, can give, what are we going to call it? in_dh, it'll be a server callback, semicolon. What can we do? Can add item, right, keep it straightforward. False, there's no delay in recalling it, and we will send it self, right, being ourself. Recallback await. Let's just keep it that, right. Now just to continue the logic here, if we can give, right, maybe we call it given, and if given, then if not given, then we will return an end. So that is just one line of code, return end. So given, I guess, will be a true or false, and in the callback itself, in its function, let's call it add item if can. Add item if can. So if we can add an item, we'll add it, and if it is added, we will return a true, and then if it is not true, then we will just return out of it, but if it is true, we will continue and trigger the heist. Right. Now heading to our server side. In our little callback section we have lib.callback.register, and we will have what? in. Let me just go copy this name so I don't have to retype it. Right, it'll taking that, and our function will be what? Function source 100%, and it would be given. Doesn't have to be the same as this variable, it could be completely different. We could even call it give success or give status, right? So right at the end we will return give status. Okay, starting out, give give status is equal to false. So we'll set it to false first, and then we'll go through it, right? If our framework is equal to QB, right, then we do some things. Else if we do some things, end, right? The else if would be for ESX. I don't know how I just did that, but that was really cool. I don't know how I did that. Maybe I had a copy and paste moment. Yeah, ESX. Okay. Right. Now let us do ESX first this time. Let's see. No client, server side. We want to do server side things always when checking if we can add an item and also giving items. So over here, can carry item. This function is used to determine if a player can carry an item and is the successor to the previous item number checks. Okay, so if target player can carry item, then we do. Okay, this is basically a give, part of a give function, but we need to do this. Right. Can carry item. We said we're doing ESX first, yet I didn't. Right, so local x player is equal to what? ESX dot get player data maybe? Server functions get player from ID, from a server ID. Ooh. Let's see, which would we want to use? I'm thinking get player from ID. I just want to check what I did before here. ESX. My get player data section. Get player from ID, and we can feed it source. Okay, that's all I wanted to know. So we do that, and we paste it there. Obviously, we will need local src is equal to source. Right, source is the client who called this function, and we will just get the player data like that. Can carry item. This would be whatever item we decide. let's call it a shop key. Count, it'll be 1. We just need to do it for one key. Right, so that should be it. Can carry item, this returns a value, right? So give status is equal to can carry item. Okay, and we'll return the give status. Else end. So if we don't use frameworks, then we can't give an item and it just won't work. Now for QB, we head over to QB. In the core we have server function reference, get players, get player by citizen ID, get player. Let's start with get player. So local player is that. So local players get player by source, and then can use item, has permission, get permission, is player banned, get player, get players, get players, create callback, can use item, kick. Okay, for QBCore it is different. QBCore, it seems like QBCore depends on other functioning like inventory scripts, whereas ESX seems to have their inventory integrated in the core. However, you can also add inventory scripts to ESX, I believe. So yeah, I guess we'll use QB inventory stuff. So can add item. Let me just introduction. Here we go. All exports listed are server only unless specified. So can add item is a server side export. So we do that. Exports can add items. So give status is equal to can add item. Now there's some logical errors here. Local can add is a little variable on its own, and we need can add first, right? Because this is only asking whether or not we can add the item, right? To actually add the item, we have to give the player the item, and after we've given it, then only can we change the give status, because that is what it is. Right, now let's quickly, before I forget, hop to our config. Okay, head right, config dot stage settings, maybe. Right. I don't know if we'll use that specifically, but config.items, and this is stage 1. Stage 1 would be shop key, item name of the item the NPC gives on Heist start. Right. so shop key. And then we just call this C dot items dot stage 1. And it'll just be 1. And instead of shop key over here, we have c.items.stage1. Remember, C is equal to our config. That should be sufficient. Right. Let's finish ESX real quick. Actually, we will end the episode there for tonight. I'm nearly late for my meeting. I just realized. So thank you so much for watching. I really do hope you find these helpful. Sorry that we couldn't get to testing that yet, but everything with time, am I right? Right, just again a big thank you to everyone interacting. I really do mean it when I say it. And yeah, if you need any support regarding this script, the imagiNix Studios Discord is linked below. Come find me there. There's dedicated channels for support which you can use. And yeah, hope to see you there. Thanks so much for watching. I'll catch you in the next one. Peace out.